I am Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School, and let's pick it up. This is the beginning of chapter 13. I want to get the, y'all see those two lights back there? I try to get them symmetrical. Get the camera angle symmetrical with them. I have this thing about symmetry. I have a thing about symmetry. But you know the interesting thing? Well, nothing. Let's get into it. Chapter 13. I hope y'all enjoyed chapter 12. I really enjoyed chapter 12. Chapter 12 for me was a doozy. Especially about Aries. Especially about Aries. So y'all know what this is looking like, what I'm suspicious of. They inserted Aries. They inserted Libra. Shifted from a circumpolar zodiacal projection to the ecliptical zodiacal projection, and then on top of that added 30 degrees, 30 more degrees to Freemasonry. To establish worship of the Virgin Mary. So I think it's clear, right? I think it's clear what's happening. This all has to do with not just a single religion, but all of them, because they all follow the same template, the same solar deity template. Each of the 15, 16, however many major solar deity religions there were, including present day, all follow the same mother-son relationship with the Father, that Trinity. Y'all see what I'm getting at? But of course, we need to work it out. We need to figure out the details of it. But this is how it appears to me. And if that's correct, that changes everything. I mean, that literally, hold on, y'all. Let me try to stabilize I don't know if y'all can see it, but my, I don't know what you call it. This thing that you sit this up. Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. Let me see if that stabilizes it. I don't know. All right. But anyway, that gets into the whole mother and son dynamic that we see in the solar religions. So the whole ecliptical zodiac paradigm has to do with the seasons, right? The orientation is from the north. But the circumpolar zodiac projection, in the north, you see Polaris, the northern star, and it's all about the 7 stations of the sun. In the south, you would see the constellations that you can only see in the southern hemisphere. So anyway, y'all, we'll figure it out. We will figure this out. But you see, it's looking like a conspiracy, right? It sure is looking like a conspiracy to add in Aries, Libra, to separate Virgo, Scorpio, and then to change the whole paradigm, the whole projection from circumpolar to ecliptical. But, you know, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out as we go. And I hope y'all enjoy the ride as we discover it together, okay? So let's pick it up. Chapter X, I, so that's chapter 13. Page 141. Description of the planet. See, let me go back. See, this is going to change the whole perspective, y'all. What we're standing before can change our whole perspective. See, we have been ruled by religion. Okay? By religion, a remix of the ecliptical zodiac projection, or the solar sun-based, the solar zodiacal projection. Remixed, of course, into various religions, solar deity religions. And that's been our downfall. So what knowledge awaits us as we discover the circumpolar zodiac projection and everything, all the information associated with that? What awaits us? Okay? What's in store for us? Okay, so anyway, chapter 13. Description of the planets. What they rule over and whom. Okay, now y'all, this should be good. And as I mentioned before, we'll be able to get into the other books, the supplementary books. Man, these mosquitoes are killing me. The supplementary books in this class now. So this should be very, very exciting. So here we go, page 141. The astrological or astronomical character for the planet Saturn is, let me show y'all, Saturn kind of gets a bad rap. Saturn gets a bad rap. You know what just came to my mind? Talking about Saturn, and then I thought about man, then I thought about Adam Cadman, you know, the perfect man image, and the pentagram. So you have the pentagram, you have the head, your two arms, that's 3 points, and then your two legs. So y'all remember that famous, I think it's Leonardo da Vinci image. So man having five points, right? So the head, both hands, that's 3, and then both feet, that's 5. And Adam Cadman, so the 5-pointed star, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, the 5 major principles, highest principles in the universe, and then of course, cut off the ends of the 5-pointed star, leave the center, you get a pentagon. You get a pentagon, right? And so of course, Saturn and discipline, etc., perfect man. That's just what came to my mind. And by the way, man is represented by the number 9. I just found this out recently. And so that's that's having its basis in that every 72 years, the precession of the equinox, I think it moves back 1 degree. Yeah, 1 degree. So it has its basis in nature. So those kinds of calculations. So 9, of course, 36, 72, as I got it. But anyway, perfect man. But I need to look into more about that topic, the number 9. But anyway, we're dealing with Saturn, right? We're dealing with Saturn. Of course, Saturn is the strong house of the winter solstice. The winter solstice, right? And this is why we read here that Saturn is considered to be the renewer of life. The renewer of life, because the sun dies on December 22nd, meaning that it doesn't cast a shadow on the sundial for a full 3 days. And then on December 25th, exactly at the end of December 24th, at 12 midnight, and the exact beginning of December 25th, the sun is reborn. So Saturn is said to be the renewer of life, because Saturn is a strong house of December. Anyway, these are just some thoughts that came into my mind. So let's continue, page 141. The next sentence. Well, let's go, just start from the top. The astrological or astronomical character for the planet Saturn is, and I just showed y'all the symbol. Saturn rules over husbandry. Husbandry, husband as in farm work, husbandry as in Joseph, the husband of Mary. Okay, y'all, hold on. Why is this showing? All right, y'all with me? So let's make the connections here. Saturn rules over husbandry, tillage. See, that's farm work. Fruits of the earth. See, someone's got to harvest it, right? Someone's got to prepare the soil. Someone's got to do the labor for your farm. Mines of coal and lead. So we need the metals, right? We need the fuel. Over dens, caves, holes in earth, over buildings of wood, brick, and stone, over real estate, over real estate of all kinds, real estate agents, and brokers and dealers in the same. Over all elderly persons, farmers, agriculturalists, dealers in wood, lime, cement, and building material. Over all those who work in the soil, or about cattle. Or about cattle, but not horses. Not horses, y'all, not horses. It's probably not horses because that's taking us into Sagittarius, right? Horses. Okay, so over cattle, not horses. Pigs, swine gardens, produce dealers, tanners, and couriers, dealers in hides, leather, boots and shoes, all black and dark matters of the kind such as rubber, bank safes or vaults, over potters, tire, and brick makers, and dealers and workers in clays and earth, over wool. Now, man, y'all, man is made from the dust of the soil. Man is made from clay, from soil, right? Y'all think about what's the Hermetic deity? I don't recall his name right now, but he's forming man on the potter's wheel, right? So that would imply clay. Okay? So over brick and brick makers, the ancient Israelites were said to have been forced to make bricks. for Pharaoh, right? Y'all remember that? So Saturn is no wonder then, or we're starting to see some connections as to why the Ish people secretly adore and venerate Saturn. Even the black hats, the black circular hats that they wear. My understanding is that that represents the rings of Saturn. Okay, the robes that their magistrates and de facto magistrates and de facto magistrates or judge wears the black robes. Okay, Saturn, black. Okay? Remember, it rules over all black and dark matters of the kind such as rubber, bank safes, bench, bank. Okay, so the magistrate, the judge sits on a bench, which in Latin is a bank, or vaults, over potters, tile, and brick makers, and dealers and workers in clays and earth, wool, sheep, right? The Israelites were sheep herders, wool, over all melancholy and morose, repining and dogged, stealthy, sneaky persons. So this would be narcissists of all the different, no matter if it's a noble narcissist or the flamboyant narcissist, all the narcissists. Saturn is ruling over the narcissists, melancholy, sneaky people. Over monks, isn't that interesting? Over sneaky people, over monks, Catholic priests, right? They wear the black and then the white collar, and it's a circle shape, right, y'all? As in a ring, as if a ring, a circle. Saturn rules over sneaky people, monks, Catholic priests, nuns and nunneries, cemeteries and graveyards, over hypocrites. So sneaky people would be a hypocrite, right? And deceit of all kinds. So this is that part of Saturn that gives Saturn a bad reputation, right? Saturn delights in dark and gloomy places. So let's restate this. Sneaky people delight in dark and gloomy places. They delight in shade. They delight in shade. In other words, they can hide, right? And wilderness and woods, these are hiding places. Also dangerous places, right, where you could be trapped or attacked. So that would also include monks, Catholic priests, nuns, nunneries. They also delight in dark and gloomy places. Maybe they want to take you to a dark and gloomy place. You know, in boxing, I would say boxing is my favorite sport. Always has been. So in boxing, when you get to, back in the day, this is when I was young, very young, the fights would go 15 rounds. So now they call it championship rounds. I think the championship fights are only 12 rounds. But back in the day, when you get to round 13, okay, and it's been a hard fight, so you've been taken, your opponent took you to a dark place, okay? If you can make it to the 13th, 14th, 15th round, it's a hard fight. That's the dark place, the gloomy place. Or if your opponent in boxing is handing it to you, right? And, you know, let's say you're the boxer, and you're you're taking a beat down. Some people may say this ain't worth it. I'd rather quit, right? I'm gonna give up. Maybe you get hurt. So now you've been taken into that dark, gloomy place. And now this is where who you are inside is gonna come out. Are you gonna quit? Are you gonna fight? Okay? Or are you going to make whatever adjustments that you need to make? Are you gonna have the awareness to make the adjustments and not just fight, but make the adjustments and have the courage to push through the pain? Because now you're in that dark, gloomy place where you need to know who you are and deal with who you are. And it's going to show, right? It's going to show, okay? So these sneaky people, these monks, Catholic priests, and let's throw in there the magistrates and judges, de facto magistrates and judges, because they are in fact, I don't want, priest is not the word. Well, they're in the priest, they're of the priestcraft. Priest, they're priests. They're priests. And they're gonna take you, their goal is to take you to that dark, gloomy place through fear to get you to give up your birthright. Threaten you, intimidate you, I know they did that to me. When I last time I had an interaction with them, the de facto magistrate had the guys who have the firearms on their side. They wear a badge and a uniform. Those guys, they came right up on me to try to intimidate me. And I don't remember how many it was. It may have been 3 or 4, but it didn't intimidate me. So they're going to take you to that dark place to try to get you to become afraid, okay? But when you're in that dark spot, that's going to show who you are. That's going to show who you are. So are you a sincere person? Are you courageous enough to say, I'm not giving up my birthright? Or are you in there, or is your motive just to get out of a situation and you don't really care about your birthright? You're just trying to get the minimum amount of wrath out of the situation. And you get scared, and you come to the conclusion that it's better for you to give up the birthright because maybe you get less time, or that priest wearing that black robe, that magistrate, that magician is going to have some pity. Maybe you're thinking crazy like that. All right? But these people, these bankers, these priests, magi sitting on the bench, want to take you to that dark and gloomy place. Okay? Give you that negative experience. But then how are you going to react? How are you going to react to that negative experience? Or even that trauma, that traumatic experience? Okay? And then the foes in your head, all of the doubts, all of the foes in your head that you got to deal with right there in the moment. Okay, just like that boxer who's getting it handed to him, who's knocked out on his feet. Do you have the awareness to make the adjustments, overcome the fear, overcome those foes? Right, y'all? Everybody see what I'm saying? And overcome those foes. And then, you know your strength. You know your strength. But you've also overcome. You overcome or overcame those foes. And that's going to help you in the next situation. And the next situation, right? Anyway, let's keep it going. Saturn delights in dark and gloomy places, in shade. Okay, now we use shade. We use shade connotatively, right? Someone throwing shade on you. Well, for y'all young people, that's not the shade we're talking about. We're talking about shade as in shadows, where the sunlight is blocked. There's no light, there's darkness. Or there is lack of knowledge or ignorance. Lack of knowledge or ignorance. So for example, connotative linguistics. You can look at that as being a form of shade. Right? Because you're in the darkness. Lack of knowledge of your nationality and birthright. Right? You're in the dark. Okay, and the wilderness and the woods. So I'm not going to go further with that. Saturn is the author of all evil under the SUN sun. Saturn is the author of all evil under the SUN sun. This is where we get Satan. Saturn, Satan. Y'all got it? Now, the Catholic Church took this profile of Saturn and then personified it into a living being, actually an angel, right? And then they said that this evil, y'all look at evil. Evil is an anagram of live. L-I-V-E. Living, live. Okay, live. So if you're alive, it implies, when we look at the law of polarity, live would be the Christ mentality, or the higher self. And the antigram of live, evil, would be what? All of those dishonorable characteristics. Okay? So higher self and lower self. Lower self is the devil. Summer solstice is the Christ, June 22nd. Winter solstice is the devil, December 22nd. So, dark, December 22nd is the longest night of the year. It has the fewest number of daylight hours, so take the D off of dark, put it in front of evil, and you get devil. Y'all see? It's just a play on words. And then presenting this natural phenomena as a living person. And then giving it a history or a biography. All right? This is how they created the angel or deity or lesser god, demigod, called Satan the devil. Satan, Saturn. All right? So, Satan in the ancient Ibaryath simply means opposite, opposer, as in opposite end of the same line. So here's Christ, the higher self, at the opposite end. That would be Satan. Okay? So the opposite ends of the same line, or the principle of polarity, the law of opposites. Everybody see that? This has nothing to do with religion. This is nature and simply the way to express natural phenomena. But it's been hijacked by the dark priesthood and repackaged as devils and demons and other types of gods. Okay, y'all? So here it is. Let's continue. Saturn delights in dark and gloomy places. Doesn't Satan delight in dark and gloomy places, y'all? Isn't that the story? In shade and wilderness and woods. Saturn is the author of all evil under the sun. Saturn is the author of all evil, of all lower self behavior under the sun sun. The greater infortune, the greater infortune. So Saturn is the author of great misfortune. Okay? So let me continue. The greater infortune, and is the Saturn or Satan of the Christian religion. See, for the Christians, and we'd have to throw in the Hebrew Israelites too. Those who believe in Satan, you are actually involved in worship of the planets. You're worshiping the planets. Okay, and you're scared of the planet. Saturn's strongest power is in the signs Capricorn and Aquarius. Now Capricorn, if y'all remember, this is the goat fish. So the upper body is a goat, the lower body is a fish. And then Aquarius. Aquarius is an hermaphrodite, androgynous looking man. Okay, you look at Aquarius, you don't know if it's a man or a woman. For example, you look at the Statue of Liberty. You don't know if that's a man or a woman, right? So this is black coffee with pure honey. So I used to order the honey at the coffee shops that I go to, but I would notice that I would get pains. I get these aches, right? And then at some point I asked to see the container that they sell, because high fructose corn syrup is actually toxic, it's poison. And I stopped drinking certain, soft drinks and stuff like that because they contain high fructose corn syrup, and I noticed that I would get these aches and pains. So I stopped ordering honey because on the bottle it had high fructose. So in other words, it wasn't pure honey. So I started bringing my own. And now I don't have those aches and pains anymore. And so if y'all got aches and pains, check the ingredients for and whatever it is you're eating and drinking. If it has high fructose corn syrup in it, that might be the cause or one of the causes of your aches and pains. Okay? And if you're having cramps at night, like when you wake up, cramp in your foot, cramp in your leg, that might be due to dehydration. Okay, you might be dehydrated. And most Americans are dehydrated, even though you don't know it. But you can tell dehydration, well, let me not get into that. But one of the things you can do is get Celtic salt, or Himalayan salt. Take the big crystals. Start with one crystal, put it on your tongue. Put it on your tongue, let it dissolve. Don't swallow it. Don't swallow it, because it'll defeat the purpose. Let it dissolve, and it will be absorbed through your tongue and and then the magnesium will be picked up by your cells. And then your cells then can pull in the water and hold the water inside of the cell. But if you swallow it, the magnesium is going to go to the water in your digestive tract, and you're not going to, your cells are not going to get the benefit of it. But anyway, you can, hold on. There's a fly. Oh man, a fly was on my straw. But anyway, and then after after you dissolve it, you can drink water. And then that water, or you can drink the water first, right? You can drink the water first. And then and you can increase the amount of Celtic or Celtic or Himalayan crystal salt. This is sea salt, y'all. Don't use table salt. That's very harmful. And then that'll rehydrate you, okay? That'll rehydrate you. Or you can just go to the doctor and tell the doctor. Now they might not do it. I don't know. Well, no. Let me. Forget that. Forget that. We used to have a saying that when you go into me, I don't go into a hospital unless I absolutely have to. Because if you go into a hospital, you may not come out the way you walked in. All right? And I think most doctors would agree with that. Those are places you go only by necessity. But anyway, I'm not giving medical advice. I'm just talking about my experience in life, yo. Okay, it's not medical advice. I'm talking about my experience in life. My personal experience in life. Anyway, let's go back to it. Saturn's strongest power is in the signs Capricorn and Aquarius. Now again, Aquarius is androgynous, neither male nor female. Capricorn is the goldfish, also a hybrid. So you correlate the androgynous man or woman back to Genesis chapter 1. Back to Genesis chapter 1. Okay, so that created creature in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and 27 was neither, well, let me restate that. It was both male and female, meaning both sex organs present. It was an hermaphrodite. All right. Now, which sex organ was more developed? I don't know. I wasn't there, but it was an hermaphrodite. Okay. So let's continue making these connections as we go. Those born under Saturn have black and dark colors for their favorites. So one indication of a person who's born under Saturn, that is a Capricorn or Aquarius, is that they like dark colors. Their favorite colors are dark colors. Saturn rules over coal mines. Y'all know coal is a dirty mineral to burn, right? In fact, my grandfather was a coal miner, and he expired due to complications, pulmonary complications, due to mining coal. Lead is one of the most toxic metals on the planet. Y'all know lead poisoning? Lead poisoning leads to antisocial behavior. Someone who may have been also poor academic performance. In other words, it affects your ability to reason, and it causes you to do things that are lower self, like robbery, or let's say being argumentative, being destructive. It's lead poisoning. It's a lot. It destroys you mentally and physically. There's no wonder why they poison our communities with lead, and also why they chose to put lead in gas or gasoline. Okay, clay pits, etc. Saturn's mean motion. Its mean motion is 2 minutes. So remember, mean and average, they're different. The mean is different from the average. The mean motion I'm assuming he means this. He means the statistical mean, and he's not using mean and average as synonyms. Okay. So Saturn's mean motion is 2 minutes and 1 second. 2 minutes and 1 second. Diurnal motion sometimes 3, 4, 5, or 6 minutes, but seldom more. Saturn's greatest north latitude from the ecliptic is 23. I'm sorry, let me repeat that. Saturn's greatest north latitude from the ecliptic is 2 degrees, 48 minutes. All right? So Saturn's greatest latitude or north latitude from the ecliptic is 2 degrees, 48 minutes. Saturn's south latitude from the ecliptic, 2 degrees, 49 minutes. So there's a difference in 1 minute, okay, between the north and the south latitude. In the table of dignities and description of signs, you will find the houses, terms, faces, and all dignities and debilities of Saturn. Okay, so we'll go through that at another time. Hope y'all are enjoying what we're learning. So let's keep it moving. So we're on page 142 right now. Saturn continues in retrograde. Saturn continues in retrogradation 140 days. 140 days. Saturn is 5 days in his first station before retrogradation, and 5 days in his second station before direct movement. So we're gonna see where he's going with all of this. Okay? Saturn is diurnal. Saturn is a diurnal planet, cold and dry by nature, being far removed from the sun with moist vapors. That's interesting. Saturn has moist vapors. All right? So Saturn, if I remember correctly, is the last planet, which is why it's the darkest planet. Saturn is melancholic, earthly, masculine, the greatest ill fortune or infortune, the author of all solitariness and malevolent feelings, etc. It's the lower self, y'all. But Saturn is not all bad. When Saturn is well dignified or placed in a figure, Saturn represents one of a profound imagination. Listen. Imagination. This is your God. Connotatively, your imagination. This is your God faculty. This is your God faculty, your imagination. So the workshop of your mind is where you do your God work. That's where you do your creative work. Okay, that's where you create or destroy. That's where you execute justice. That's where you create the future that you desire, or that's where you become and have whatever you want, as it were, whatever you want to do, be, or have. It's all done in the workshop of the mind. All right, y'all? It's done in the workshop of the mind. Now, I've mentioned before that my favorite, I don't know what to call it, let's say technology, is the silver method in terms of controlling my my behavior and being quote unquote God, connotatively speaking. It's the silver method. And the technique actually is called the workshop of the mind. And in this technique, y'all can get the PDF online. You can get the audio book on YouTube, etc. Let me check that. And you can learn about this. But there are specific. Well, y'all check it out. Let me not go into it. The imagination and your ability to visualize, to see, to imagine, to see the future that you want, or the result that you want, or to have, to do, be, or have, or influence this, impact that. I know I've used it, and I've had great success with it. Okay? I've used it to get what I want, and I've also used it to stop people from harming me and others. Okay? So when you go into the workshop of the mind, let me say this, when you go into the workshop of the mind, you can communicate with other people, not their lower self, but their higher self. You can actually communicate because there's one source. There's one consciousness. There's one, remember the first Hermetic Law, all is mind. We're just tuned in on different frequencies. Or in other words, different channels, different radio stations, right? But in the workshop of the mind, you're communicating with other people, their higher self, not their lower self. Okay? So I use, well, you know, you have counselors, right? If you go through this, hold on, y'all. What's happening? I don't know if my battery is running out or what. But I have counselors, and you can bring in as many counselors as you want. And you ask them questions, and then you await the answers that they're going to give you. But anyway, I'm not going to go further with that, but y'all just take the time to research about imagination, or even the silver method, or Reiki, or whatever it is you want to do. Research it, and then practice. Do a daily practice of developing your visualization skills. Okay? You want to perfect it. That's the goal. You want to perfect it. And it just takes persistence, 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 persistence. In other words, practice, practice, practice. Okay? And then you'll be able to see the results of how you are in total control of your life. Okay? And you can influence others to do or stop doing something, because you're communicating with their higher self. But anyway, let's keep it moving. Where are we? So when Saturn is well dignified or placed, that's the two conditions. When Saturn is well dignified or placed in a figure, Saturn represents one of a profound imagination, in acts severe, in words reserved, giving or speaking very sparingly, patient in labor. Sound like wisdom, right? Disputing or arguing with gravity, very solicitous or eager for the goods of this life, and austere in all manner of action. When Saturn is ill-dignified, okay, so now we get the opposite. When Saturn is ill-dignified, then Saturn represents one envious, covetous, jealous, and mistrustful, timorous, sordid, cowardly. Coward would be somebody who's doing things behind the scenes or being a puppet master, right? Manipulating people. Stubborn, dissembler, sluggish, suspicious, an ill speaker of women, a liar, malicious, a murderer, and grumbler, never contented, and ever repining. So y'all, this place is about to close. So I'm gonna close down. Also, I think closes in about, I think she's closing now. All right, y'all, I gotta run. So I'll be back to finish this up within about 12 to 24 hours. So thanks for spending your time with me. I hope you learned something. And leave your comments or suggestions in the comment section. Islam, assalamu alaikum. I, self, law, and master. And I'll see y'all on the next